are you doing? Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. I haven't been on here in a couple of days. So I hope all is well. I am praying for all of our friends, Church Nelly, Cookies and Cream. There's health challenges around. So I am praying for you guys. Welcome to Facts and Tuesdays. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So what is going on in the world? Actually, our faves are fine. They're under a tree somewhere. I'm just gonna put on a little bit of music here, and do a little a little bit of just a little bit of night driving music, even though it's the daytime. Don't mind me. Hope it's not distracting in any way. But anyways, yeah. So our faves are hanging out under a tree, and we love that for them. Doing whatever it is they're doing in California. Harry, I'm assuming, is getting ready to go to the UK for the ConAnation. But as I said, I am not going to be covering the ConAnation, so we wish him well. Pray for his safe travels there. And if, as the reporting is that he is leaving right away to come go back home to the most important event of the day and the year and the week and the weekend. Master Archie. No, I'm sorry, King Archie. Oh, Prince Archie. Well, no, actually, I would just keep it as King Prince Archie. Yeah, King Prince Archie. King Prince Archie's birthday is on Saturday, the 6th. And so that is what I will be focused on all of Saturday. And as you know, as a squad, we always do something amazing and in their honor, an amazing fundraiser. So this will be no different. Tomorrow, actually, it'll start tomorrow. I guess this is Sussex community who has put this all together. Tomorrow, we'll find the organization that we'll be donating to in honor of King Prince Archie's birthday and Queen Princess Lilibet's birthday coming up in June. And so that'll be her second birthday, by the way. Baby Lily is getting to be not so baby anymore. It's getting to be big girl Lilibet. So yes. So tomorrow we'll find out the organizations that will benefit. And so when we are tweeting, please use the hashtag Prince Archie 4 and Princess Lilibet 2. And service is universal. So when we're tweeting about it, putting it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever your social media is, please use those hashtags. So Sussex Squad will be doing what we always do, serve our community in honor of our faves. So yes, the most important events. This will show those on Shutter Island. Do not book stuff on King Prince Archie's birthday. It wouldn't go well with you, at least not with us anyway. We're not focused on their mass. We are going to be focused on King Prince Archie. So there. And so I am so excited. Oh my goodness, how time flies. Our little munchkins are now 4 and 2. Or at least baby Lilibet's going to be 2 next month. So it's amazing how kids grow. So all of a sudden you feel like, oh my gosh, I just feel old. Because these babies are like, they were babies a minute ago. It was like a minute ago. Harry was standing in front of the horses just gushing about his new baby. That's the most beautiful thing in the world. That he was so like up in the sky that he was even thanking the horses for being quiet. It was just yesterday. And now King Prince Archie is going to be 4. It's just amazing. I was like, that is 4 years ago? That is so wild. And little munchkin baby Lilibet. It's like, that was 2 years ago? It is amazing to me how kids grow. They grow so fast. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And if you're able, definitely I'm going to post tomorrow I will put it in our community page. It might get in our community page much faster than I do the podcast, so I'll put it there so you'll have the links and all of that stuff if you're able. If you're not able to donate, financially, please, there are so many ways that you can help with this fundraiser by sharing, by liking, sharing, telling your friends about it, who are able, people who can financially donate to whichever organizations we're donating to. It would be amazing. Whatever you can do, don't even worry about it if you can't, if, we're all in different financial situations. So don't feel bad about that at all. There's a lot of ways that you can help with the foundation that has nothing to do with finances. So so it'll be fantastic. I'm looking forward to our celebration on Saturday. I hope you are as well. And oh my gosh, I can't stop looking at these pictures. I'm like, do we need to go on? Should this just be our podcast today? Just looking at these two little munchkins. They're just so precious. Anyways, we must move on. And if you're new here and you have not subscribed to this, or even if you're not new and you just have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. Click the notification bell that when we drop a video, you'll get a notification from YouTube. Please like, share this video, help us to build our platform. And if you're able, join the channel. That would be awesome too. Thank you so much to all of you who have already joined the channel and help us. Your support is what's able to help me to be able to put this, get the software and all of that stuff to be able to bring this to you. So thank you so much for your support in every way. You help me maintain my computer and all of that stuff so that I can do this. So I appreciate all your support. Moving on. Well, Mama Queen Duchess Meghan. I so love any organization that Harry and Meghan work with is there is just they build community, and it's funny to see them sort of tweeting at each other and all of that stuff, and it's wonderful, and it's a little bit faded, so I hope that you can see it well. But WME, when they signed Meghan, so they tweeted about it because they have a Twitter account. So they tweeted about it, and they tweeted, it says, "We are honored to announce that WME now represents Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, in all areas." And so at the bottom, you can see Spotify podcast. It's like, oh, thank you, Spotify podcast. Spotify podcast tweeted back, "Well deserved," with a hand clapping emoji. Spotify podcast, I'm telling you, they are completely in love with Meghan. It's so funny to see some of their tweets and stuff like that, then tweeting about her, about archetypes, and just responding to squad's tweets and stuff. They just absolutely love Meghan, and they are always cheering her on, and it's really wonderful to see the relationships that she has with them and with people that she works with. It's wonderful, and I really, really love it. And again, it's not the first time Spotify podcast has done this. So I just love it. I love the relationships that her and Harry build with the people that they work with. So kudos to our faves again. We're hoping that Harry, I was wishing Harry, help them. Never mind. I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, our faves would be under a tree, hanging out with her babes on his birthday. And, if Harry is coming back from the ConAnation, I, pray for him get home safely and in time to celebrate with his baby boy, who is not so much a baby anymore, as a big boy. So anyways, moving on. Yes, to the ConAnation. It's so funny. I don't think I've ever used the photo from Loose Women before. So this is Loose Women. So we talked about that last episode where King Charles his ill-advised army of clowns who advise him, with the whole nonsense, advise him to go ahead with this whole nonsense of calling the world to pledge allegiance to him. And so nobody, and I mean no one, not even the most ardent royalists. Well, there was that, Nana, whatever her name is, Nana Akua, I think it is, from GB News, the black girl who's always attacking Meghan because, we desperately need white people to like us, so let's attack Meghan. And so she is the only one I've seen where she's like, I will unreservedly pledge allegiance to the king. I'm like, girl, even your white counterparts, even your white co-workers are like, no. What are you doing? You're not going to be accepted anymore. It's like they're not going to accept you. You're still a black girl. No amount of bowing down and kissing Charles' feet is going to make you any less black, and it's not going to make them any less accept you. So it's very weird. No one else is, pledging allegiance. I mean, I'm sure some other royalists are going to do it, but it's really wild. But anyway, so on Loose Women, they had this whole, they were asking the audience, they were talking about it amongst themselves, if any one of them would pledge, and they're like, no. One of the ladies, the black lady's like, I don't pledge allegiance to no man. She's like, I pledge allegiance to my children. But the rest, the others are like, no. And so they asked the audience, will you swear allegiance to the king? And this is the audience response. This is part of the audience, but literally the only one person in this audience raised their hands that they're going to swear allegiance to the king. And so it was just very interesting, the response, of British people, because the tabloid press are like, oh my gosh, they have such, people approve of them so much. And, as we get nearer to the coronation, the tabloids, of course, want to pump up with their fake press about how much more the people approve of Charles and all of those stuff. They may approve of him, and, especially the older ones, but they sure are not going to be swearing an allegiance to him. And they're not going to be raising their voices, crying out around the world, pledging their allegiance to him. But yeah, and everyone in the audience were like, I'm not doing that. No matter how much of a royalist I am not doing that. So it's very interesting. And even their tabloid media, they cannot hide the fact that people aren't doing it. And people have been vocal in saying no. So the tabloid media cannot spin this at all in any way that, people are wanting to pledge allegiance. Even their most ardent supporters, again, in the press, have got to, admit, well, the guy from LBC, he's like totally not into it at all. His angle about it is, and which we've talked about in here before, he says on LBC, so one of the announcers there, he talks about, he says, we're in an economic crisis. The number of homeless people has been going up and up. At Ben Kintish is appalled by the obscene sum of money being spent on the coronation. And the 1.2 billion he's talking about is the bank holiday, which is Monday. He's like, well, you're already spending 250 to 275 million pounds on a coronation. That includes the coronation itself. It also includes 100 million on the coronation, and then it 150 to 175 million pounds on security, which, by the way, today they had like this so-called bomb scare, quote unquote bomb scare, and someone had like a weapon or something, or a gun or something at in front of Buckingham Palace. I'm like, yeah, that, the reason why people aren't going all in on that, because I think everybody may have a clue that the way to justify spending 150 million pounds of taxpayer, poor people's money on a coronation is to fake something like that. It's the fake, it's like, oh, they disarmed it and did a controlled bomb and stuff like that. I didn't even read the whole thing, but there's, a sort of a security incident, quote unquote, at Buckingham Palace today. And I'm like, well, yeah, they need to be able to justify spending 150 to 175 million pounds of poor taxpayers' money on security. They need to justify it. And what better way to justify it than to come up with like, oh, well, let's do a controlled security scare at Buckingham Palace. And conveniently, none of the royals were there. But we do that just, to show like, oh, we needed to spend your 150 million pounds on security. And look, if it was a legitimate thing with security, because I'm very much about making sure people are safe. If it was a legitimate thing, whatever. But for me, it is very suspect. It is extremely suspect with this whole thing at Buckingham Palace. Because one of the things with Buckingham Palace, at a time like this, the whole perimeter of it would have been protected. So people can't just, that's what I'm assuming. If I'm a security person, you have a ConAnation of this big event coming up. Weeks before that, the whole perimeter of there would be secure. So someone coming there with it all seems really suspect to me. And so I am happy to be wrong about this. I hope I'm wrong. But what it seemed to me is they need to justify spending 150 million pounds of taxpayer money on security. And this is a way they choose to justify it, by creating this so-called bomb scare at Buckingham Palace. For me, it's fake. That's how it comes across to me. I will happily, if I'm wrong, I'm happy to take the L. So anyways, and so Ben is talking about, as you can see in the photo there, 1.2 billion pounds. People talk like, oh yes, it's the ConAnation, whatever. There will be a lot of tourists, a lot of people will be flying in. Yes. But to take the bank holiday off, to close down the country essentially for a bank holiday on Monday, will cost the country 1.2 billion pounds. 1.2 billion pounds on a nation that's already in an economic crisis. And on top of that, you're taking taxpayer funds of 250 to 275 million pounds for the ConAnation and security. It is costing the nation so much money to put on a ConAnation nobody asked for, that is completely unnecessary. And so it is just like people, and I'm so glad to see people, regular folks just speaking out like, this is unbelievable. Not unbelievable. Yes, of course they'll do it because they can. The government allows them to do it. It's so funny. Even Piers Morgan is talking about the bowing down. It's like, why I think this oath allegiance was a mistake. And talk about, and of course he goes into talk about, the reason he's not going to do it is because of Harry and Andrew. But the whole thing about it is like, these people, they'll pay lip service to the monarchy because, especially the press, because that's how they make their money. They make a lot of their money on royals. And so they pay lip service to it. So this whole, yes, I'll bow down. But even they have their limits. They're like, but of course, Piers Morgan has to bring in something like, Piers Morgan says, Palace has made a misstep in inviting the public to swear allegiance to the king and his heir and successors. And then he goes on to talk about, his, like, the reason that he's not going to do it is because of Harry and Andrew. But no one, even their most loyal so-called supporters online, those reporters that they suck up to and bow down to, they're not feeling any of this. And so, as I said in the last podcast, this is what happens when you hired people who will not say no to you. When you have yes people around you who can say like, dude, this is a stupid idea. This is stupid. Why would you call for people to bow down to you? Even if you've earned the right to do it, you don't do it. You know what I mean? And so again, this is what happens when you live in a bubble, you navel gazing, and you can't read a room, and you have not hired people or put people in positions around you who have learned to read a room and who could say no to you. And then we've talked about this before with King Charles. If you are a person that could stand up to him, he will never hire you. He only allows yes people around him. So any one of the people that works for King Charles know that they will never say no to anything he has to say. They will never challenge him. They will never be like, no, we're not doing this. They will never do it. And so this is how you come up with something this stupid. But anyways, moving on from that. Along with the ConAnation swearing allegiance, we just talked about, again, about them and security. The so-called security bomb threat in front of Buckingham Palace, which for me, again, believe that that's just, trying to justify 150 million pounds. I'm sorry. Yeah, 150 million to 175 million pounds for security. But Suella Braverman, who is who's Home Secretary in the UK, posted this and put this out yesterday. Public Order Bill has received royal assent from His Majesty the King. Those intent on causing disruption and guerrilla protest tactics and other criminally disruptive acts will now be met with appropriate penalties. And the Home, she's basically retweeted the Home Office, and she put out this video talking about this. Those who seek to attack our ways of life repeatedly will be met with court orders preventing them from causing chaos again. Home Secretary Suella Braverman on the Public Order Bill receiving royal assent. And I don't think anyone is stupid enough to not know what this is about. King Charles approved a bill to basically ban protesters. This is what this is all about. He does not want the world seeing, especially those, republics, the Republic group with their big yellow sign, as you can see there, not my king sign. He does not want that because the world's eyes would be watching, at least that's what they think. The world's eyes would be watching this ConAnation. And he doesn't want this there. He doesn't want protesters there. So what does he do? He gets the government to put a bill through that basically bans protesting. And this whole thing with people causing disruption and guerrilla protesting, whatever, none of them have showed up for Charles's, for any of his engagements. The people that have been showing up to protest him have been the Republic group with those big yellow signs. And this is what they're attacking. Make no mistake, it's not about any guerrilla protest tactics. This is what they're attacking. This is what they have just given the police the right to, basically bother these people and discourage them from going. Because people don't want to get arrested. They don't want to, be, and we talked about when the Queen died, how a single protest with nothing, they just hold up a blank sign. Police was harassing and arresting and kicking people out of, anywhere close to where the royals were. And they were doing, and this is exactly what they're doing again. And I mean, this is so like Korea. I mean, this is Kim Jong-un behavior, and this is what King Charles has done, and again, you see, it received royal assent. Of course it does. Of course it does. And then they're trying to claim like, oh, no. This is, this is just a coincidence that this bill came up. It's just a coincidence that the ConAnation is, is here. It's going to be a few days. It's only a coincidence. Lies from Home Office. This is specifically for this. Because you don't want people to know that the king is not popular in his own country. You don't want people to know that there are protests and people don't want him as king. They want to abolish the monarchy. And that is what they don't. They are great at pomp and circumstance. They are great at pomp and pageantry. They don't want the world to know that there's dissent. They don't want the world to know that there is a growing number in the UK that do not want a monarchy. They don't want him as king. And so this is what this is about. He is shutting down protests. And so you wonder, where are all those free speech people, those right-wing free speech people who are claiming, we're about free speech and how dare you? Why aren't they out here protesting this bill? Why aren't they out there protesting like, wait a minute, this is infringing on people's free speech that they cannot come out and protest, And yes, of course, they're saying, oh, those criminally disruptive. Well, excuse me, when the Queen died, there were people literally holding up blank sign or a single person holding up a sign. Police would arrest them. So they were not doing anything disruptive. They weren't causing any chaos. Literally standing there by themselves, holding up a sign, and they were arrested. So this is what this is about. And it's disgusting. And a little bit more about it, and to prove my point that this is about this protest. Anti-protest powers rushed into law in time for coronation. Thank you, Guardian. Anti-monarchists received intimidatory Home Office letter on new protest laws. Home Office claimed the timing of the new powers taking effect days before King's coronation is coincidental. Lies. An official warning letter has been sent to anti-monarchists planning peaceful protests at King Charles III's coronation, saying that new criminal offenses to prevent disruption has been rushed into law. Using tactics described by lawyers as intimidatory, the Home Office Police Powers Unit wrote to the campaign group Republic saying new powers have been brought forward to prevent disruption of major sporting and cultural events. The new law, given royal assent by Charles on Tuesday, means that from Wednesday they're going to be doing, they listed the different things that they're going to be doing. Stop and searches. They're going to be, anybody like attaching themselves to a building, whatever, they're going to be arresting them and all of this stuff. So there's like a list of them. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. You can check it. It's going to be there a little bit later today. So you can read the article if you haven't already. But there's a list of things. And again, they sent a letter specifically to this anti-monarchy group, the Republic, which, we've talked about them before, but they've been the only ones that have been, consistently out there protesting. And they sent an intimidating letter to them, telling them that all of the stuff, basically intimidating them and basically the idea is, we don't want you protesting the King's coronation. This is what this is about. So they know when they go, police is going to come in with, probably try to stop them, try to search them, and create and making up stuff like, oh, they were creating, chaos. So I'm not saying that, yes, they're doing that, but this is what I'm thinking was going to happen. So basically it's to create, fear in them that they will not go out and protest. On Saturday, apparently in the UK, it's supposed to be raining. It's supposed to be very miserably and damp on Saturday. Hopefully it's all rained out. Hopefully it's all rained out. I don't know. That's what they say. It may be, it might be sunny after, who knows? But apparently it's going to be raining. So who knows how much of the, the marching and all of that stuff, who knows how much of them, if it's raining and miserable out, definitely crowd size will decrease. But so who knows how many people will come out and even protest that anyway. But again, this whole law that has been rushed in with King Charles's approval, and I don't have any proof or anything like that, but I would, I suspect that law, King Charles and his people are the ones that are like, what, can we have a law there that stops people from protesting my coronation? Who knows? That could, have originated from the palace. I don't know. I have no proof or anything like that. But it's again, how North Korea is this? How Kim Jong-un is this? It's unbelievable that they would do this. So expect arrests and all of that stuff on ConAnation Day. I will be ignoring it all and focusing on Prince Archie's birthday. Anyways, moving on. Oh, another thing that's happening with the ConAnation that is very concerning, and that's very, I'm being very kind with it being concerning, is what they are doing with children. And Kehinde Andrews, who is an author, as you can see down there, is an author and an editor-in-chief at Make It Plain.org. he posted this. He says, and it says, King's Coronation Celebration. Dear parents and peers, we are planning a special Kings and Queens Day on Friday the 5th of May, to celebrate the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III in school. We are asking our pupils and staff to wear red, white, and blue in celebration of this event. They are also more than welcome to wear a crown on the day. During the day, children will be taking part in activities in their year group to learn about coronation and history and the role of the royal family. And so Candy Andrews posted this, and he says, I think my kids might all come down with illness this Friday. Coronationitis. And I don't blame him. Because again, as they did with the Jubilee, where they spent £20 million on books to give to school children, they are indoctrinating children. They are, you have schools telling kids to dress up, and they can come in crowns, and they're going to be learning all about the coronation or whatever. And again, every parent is different. There are some royalist parents who are probably happy about that. But for those parents who are like, as Kahindi said, my kids might just come down with illness that day. Parents don't want their kids indoctrinated in this mess. Because a lot of things, as we know, a lot of the stuff that's out there with it's lies, lies, and are they going to really teach them the history? Are they going to be teaching them about the slave trade? Are they going to be teaching them about their role in colonization? Are they going to be, is that what they're going to be teaching? So yeah, it's just, I'm telling you, at this point, I'm like, North Korea, you have people in the UK. You need to come get your people. They're in the UK. Kim Jong-un, you got folks in the UK. Come get your people. They're in the royal family, and the British government, it seems. Unbelievable. Let's see what else is there. And I don't know where she got this. Lark Brazen Hasi, Lark Data, posted this with all of these different cancellations. I don't know. Again, she posted this on Twitter. Thank you, Lark Brazen Hasi, for posting this on Twitter. And apparently there are coronation events that have been canceled because lack of interest. Because they did like these. They had, like, for the Jubilee, had a ton of these block parties that they did. And so I think this coronation, they were trying to replicate that. And some districts are like, no, you're not spending our money on that. And then some people they wanted to do it. And so they did this stuff. And as you can see, the first one, it said, it is with sadness that we must cancel our coronation celebration event. We clearly misjudged the level of response from the public. We sincerely apologize to those who have already bought tickets. Refunds will be obtained from the pavilion booking office. And this is basically, the other two were saying pretty much the same thing. The middle one is like, regrettably, as a result of perceived low level of public support for the event, as expressed by the general public, the planned Legion Field event, West Mercy 7th May, have been canceled. So, and this is, again, this is 3. There might have been more. I'm sure, in some communities there'll be block parties. Again, I don't buy into the narrative that nobody's going to be out there celebrating the coronation, and that people, that it's going to be a failure in the sense of people on the street waving flag. I don't buy into that narrative at all. British people love pomp and pageantry. That it's like ingrained in the culture. It's what's been groomed in the country, especially when the royals are involved and when the military are involved. They will come out and celebrate that, even when they're like, oh, we don't like the royals, whatever. They're gonna come out and do that because it's in their blood. It's something that's ingrained in them to want that. They love that pomp and pageantry. So don't be surprised when you see a whole ton of them there. That's what I expect. But it's interesting to see that some of these, block party or street party things or celebration things that they were going to do are canceled because of lack of public interest. A lot of people have chosen to go away, get out of the city, and all of that for the coronation weekend. So, I mean, both things are true. I think both things are true. A lot of people are going to be there for the coronation, and some of these events are canceled because of low interest, especially, again, if people have to pay money in a cost of living crisis. For somebody that has already conned them out of 250 million pounds, and then the nation again losing 1.2 billion because of that bank holiday when the nation closes down. People are not here for it. So I could totally understand this. So anyways, that is Charles's ConAnation mess. Moving on. Yes. So Princess Anne, who we never really hear from Princess Anne very much. She just sort of goes about her business, and she has long been, regarded as the most the hardest worker in the royal family. She goes about, does her engagements and stuff like that. The thing about with Princess Anne, she is the hardest worker. She always does the most engagements. Her and King Charles are always basically competing at the end of the year as to who got the most engagements. The thing about with Princess Anne is I have yet to see the impact of her work. Like, she does a lot and she goes to all these events and she represents, and she's patron of a ton of events. I have never yet seen the impact of any of the things she does. And so for me, it's like, okay, so you do a lot, but what benefit? Like, give me an impact report of one of the organizations that you work with. There has never been any, as far as I know. It's just like a person that she's busy and she does a lot, but it's like impact, and again, a lot of those things are going to a gala event or a fundraiser or, a awards presentation, whatever. Again, she's doing a lot, but I don't see the fruits of all the lot of things that she's doing. At least with Charles, you can see the effects of it in the foundations that he's created, say for the Princess Trust and all. Yes, some of his organizations are sketchy and some of them are taking rich people's money for access and also for MBE and OBE. Yes, that is true. But there are other parts of it, for example, the Princess Trust, that has actually helped people, especially, Idris Elba talks about it all the time. That it actually helped a few people. I have yet to see something from Princess Anne that has, and maybe there is, and it's not reported, but I've yet to see an impact report on all the things that she's done. But anyway, that's beside the point. She gave an interview to a Canadian CBC. She gave an interview to CBC television, and ahead of her visit, I think in a month, she'll be visiting Canada. And so she gave this interview today, and it's a very interesting interview and a couple of things she talked about. So I'm going to remove my banner here. And again, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to us. So I'm going to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I said that earlier, but it's always good to remind. So I'm going to remove it again. And so we can read what Princess Anne says. And so actually, I only found out about it because Omid Scobie posted it yesterday. And so it says, during her CBC interview, Princess Anne was reluctant to discuss King Charles's decision to support research into the royal family's historic links with transatlantic slavery. And so this is a little bit of just sort of transcribed the interview and just this little part and what she said. So the interview is like, King Charles, did something interesting not too long ago, offering tacit support to the research into the ties of slavery to the monarchy. Princess Anne basically gives like a sort of a shrugging smirk thing that she did. The interviewer says, he said, absolutely, have a look. And again, this is this researcher, she's actually American, researcher who is at this moment I think for her PhD, I think, doing this thesis about the royal family's role and their relationship to the transatlantic slave trade. And so Charles, apparently, we've never heard this from Charles's lips, but apparently this came out in the media that he fully supports the research. And so he's backing the research and all of that stuff. And we were talking at the times like, yeah, PR for the ConAnation. And so, but I let it go, whatever. So this is what they're asking Princess Anne about. So their interview was like, well, he said, absolutely, have a look. And so Anne responded, well, you know more than I do, because I'd rather suspect that was the media's interpretation of that particular deal. And the interviewer says, well, what's your sense of it? Anne's response is, who knows who came up with that idea? The interviewer says, is there a difference? Is there a different sense? And Anne was like, well, not really a subject of conversation that I would want to go down. And then she talked a little bit about, at least she gave different points in her answer. She talked about, it being, that the interview should look at it, the historical perspective, and just that it goes further back, that slavery basically goes further back than before before the slave trade, that slavery hasn't gone away, which obviously we know is just a different form, and that the interview and for the interview to not be too focused on time scales and periods. And so it's very interesting, her response to, Charles is saying that, yeah, I'm gonna back this, and her thing was like, well, yeah, you know more than I do. That's the media interpretation of what was said. So for me, what I get from this is that, this whole thing with Charles backing it, this research, I don't believe, unless I hear this from Charles's own lips, I will not believe that he is doing anything of the sort. This may have come, and I have no evidence for this may have come from one of his courtiers and the media, and somebody in the media who thought it was a good idea, and it would look good, and it would get black and brown people on side, especially those in the Commonwealth, those black and brown Commonwealth nations, it will get them on side. And so I don't, unless I hear this from Charles's mouth, I don't believe that he is doing anything of the sort. And Anna's was like, and you can see what she said, when their interview said, well, what's your sense of it? Anna's like, well, who knows who came up with that idea? The idea to back that research, I'm assuming she's talking about. And so again, if this is something, this is a big deal for the royal family. If this is something that Charles is, is like, yeah, I'm backing this, you would think Anne, one of his closest siblings to him, would know about it. She would have a little bit more updated if this really was Charles's, his wish and all of that stuff. She'd know more about it. Her thing is like, look, and the interview was like, is there a different sense? And it's like, that's not really a subject of conversation I would go down. She doesn't even want to talk about it. She's not even want to talk about, again, because they're in the sense of where Charles is going in this research, it's also about, reparations and all of that stuff. She just want to go down there, and her thing is like, look, historically speaking, slavery goes back, even before that, a lot further back. And her thing is like, and for me, when I'm listening to what she's saying and how she's saying it, it's like, well, stuff was happening before the slave trade. So it goes back. So why are you looking at us? Other people were doing it before us. So why are you looking at us? And she also talks about, well, slavery hasn't gone away. So again, people before that will, people before their involvement in it, people before were doing it. People are doing it now. So why are we the ones that you're looking at? I mean, that's my interpretation of what she's saying, And she's like, well, don't focus on time scales and periods. Well, I'm like, well, that's kind of what history is. What do you mean, don't focus on time scales and periods? That's kind of what history what history is, time scales and periods, But for me, the sense I get is like, she doesn't want to talk about it. She doesn't want to deal with it. She doesn't want to focus on it. And her thing is like, well, why are you looking at us? People before us were doing it. People after us were doing it. Why are you looking at us? And it's kind of like, well, just because people before were doing it and people after are doing it, you did it too. And we're talking to you. So are you going to take responsibility for what your role in it was? So for me, it was just very, and again, I'm going to put the link there. You can watch it and you can, form your own opinion. But for me, it was a very kind of condescending. It's like, little girl, don't be too focused on time scales and history. History isn't like that. And it's just like, well, that's kind of exactly what history is about, and it's just, I'm like, I knew when I heard the thing again, when I heard the thing about Charles supporting, I was like, PR, absolute PR. And as at least she was honest. She didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to focus on it. She didn't want to talk about it. She's like, I'm really not. It's not really a subject I want to go down. So she doesn't want to deal with it. None of them want to deal with it. And so that's why it's never going to go away, because they don't want to deal with it. Even in this moment where Charles, or at least his people are claiming Charles is backing this 3-year research, which, I mean, you don't need a 3-year research to know the royal family's link to the slave trade. You don't need to, a 3-year research. There's enough history out there about their role in it. And so I'm like, hello. So anyways, moving on. And so another thing she talked about in the interview was about the slim down monarchy. And so the Guardian reporting about it says Princess Anne's slim down royal family doesn't sound like a good idea. And King Charles' sister responds to report that the monarchy can reduce number of working royals and cut back staffing. And so a little bit about from the article, it says Prince Anne, the 16th in line to the British throne, has said that she doesn't think a slimmed down monarchy is a good idea. Speaking to the Canadian public broadcaster CBC News, the Princess Royal was asked about the report that her brother intends to overhaul the institution in a move frequently referred to as the slimmed down monarchy. There have been reports that the king can reduce the number of working royals and cut back royal staffing. Asked about the proposals to modernize the monarchy, the 72-year-old replied, well, I think the slimmed down monarchy was set in a day when there were few more people around. It doesn't sound like a good idea from where I'm standing. And I would say I am not quite sure what else we can do. And that's a fair point. That's absolutely a fair point in the sense of their slimmed down monarchy, because, they don't... Kate and William, I mean, if you're relying on Kate and William to work, good luck with that one. And then the others who were, quote unquote, working, some of them are retiring. They look like they're, hard to say, but they literally look like they're on death's door. I mean, they've been, quote unquote, working, but they're very elderly. And it's like, it's time for them to retire and maybe kick their heels up for a second and not have to think of, I need to go cut another ribbon or open another, raise another flag or something. And so, or I'm sorry, not flag, but a plaque. But they're retiring. And so the people that you got left is the very uninspiring Kate and William and, Sophie and Edward. And Edward, again, I mean, Edward looks like there is something medically wrong with him because he does not look good. He does not look healthy. And so, I mean, whatever is going on with him, I hope he's able to, get help with it. But her thing is like, it doesn't sound like a good idea. It is not a good idea because they don't have enough people to do sort of the things that they, all the so-called charity stuff that they supposedly do. They don't have enough people to do it because, again, if you're depending on Kate and William to be working, good luck with that. I mean, over Easter, they were gone for like a month. And you're like, isn't there supposed to be a cute Prince and Princess of Wales? Was Easter break a month? They were literally gone over a month. And so it was just ridiculous. So they don't have enough people. I mean, what are you going to slim down to? And I understand that. The other side of that slim down monarchy that reporters don't ever talk about, and it's very good to see at least one of them, Victoria Murphy, finally admitting the problem with this so-called slim down monarchy. The other problem with that, apart from the fact that they don't have enough people to do their so-called work, Victoria Murphy says, the whole slim down monarchy thing never made sense to me unless you also overhaul funding. Exactly. Otherwise, it's the same cost but fewer duties. And I'm not sure what kind of deal that represents for the public. It's a lousy deal. It's always been a lousy deal for the public. What they want to do is cut back the number of people working, but don't cut back the money that they get, the sovereign grant. The sovereign grant is never going to go down according to the deal that the royal family have with the government. The funding is never going to go down. It will always go up. That's the deal that they have. So with King Charles cutting the amount of mouths he has to feed, who pockets the money that would have gone to those people? King Charles does. They want more money and less mouths to feed so they can get all. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that is what Victoria is saying. It's like, it only makes sense if you cut the funding to match the amount of people. Again, no amount of people in the royal family is worth the taxpayers giving them 86 to 102 million pounds a year. No amount of work. And that is without the security cost. The security cost is not involved in there. According to different groups, including Republic, the cost is more, the sovereign grant is more like 350 million pounds that they get per year. Because again, they don't put security in there. So if you're not going to reduce the amount of the sovereign grant, then why are you cutting people? And if you cut people without reducing the amount of the sovereign grant, then you are pocketing more money, because that's less mouth to feed. And then where does the money go? The money that would have, you would have paid for those people, who gets to keep that money? Where does that money go? So that's the question I have with that. Where does the money go? Where does that sovereign grant money go? Now that you have less mouth to feed. And it's very funny to see the response to what Victoria tweeted, because what's her name? From Rebecca English responded to her, oh, that's a fair point. And Richard Eden retweeted Victoria Murphy. They all knew there was a problem with this. They all knew that there was a little bit of a scammy thing going on with this so-called slim down monarchy thing, but nobody brought it up. Nobody said a word. This should never have come to this. People should have been questioning that a long time ago. But if they were actual reporters, if these people were actual journalists, they would have questioned that and questioned the monarchy on that. They are around and they get briefings from the monarchy and the royal family all the time. Nobody brought this up to them. Nobody said a word. I mean, if they were actual journalists, this would have been a topic of conversation a long time ago, because the only people that's getting scammed out of money is the public. The people that are keeping, you slim down the monarchy to a few people. Why? You got to keep more money. And so it's just, again, if these people were real journalists, it wouldn't just be a Twitter feed. It wouldn't just be a Twitter post. This would be questions that you would be putting to the monarchy. You'd be putting this to Buckingham Palace all the time. You'd be putting this to King Charles all the time. Since he was Prince of Wales, you should, because for years he's been talking about this slim down monarchy. No one has addressed this to him. That this is, no, you're going to get benefit. The public won't. So anyways, moving on from that. Talk about Commonwealth, people of the Commonwealth. There are a full list of Commonwealth countries that could leave with King Charles' overseas influence set to wane. Well, obviously, about time, really. the British monarchy. The British monarch is head of state of 14 Commonwealth realms outside the UK: Antigua, Barbuda, Australia, Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent the Grenadines, and Tuvalu. Barbados, the most recent country, has become a republic. Barbados is the most recent country to have become a republic. It removed the Queen as head of state in November 2021 and replaced her with Barbadian Sandra Mason, the country's former Governor General, as president. It remains a member of the Commonwealth of Nations. The historic change Barbados has made reinvigorated republicanism movement across the Caribbean. Of the 14 Commonwealth realms, at least 7 in the Caribbean have growing demands to drop the British monarchs as their head of state: Belize, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. So let's hope, Jamaica is going full speed ahead with this. They already have selected their committee and are already working on a new constitution for their country. So very excited, and the other 6 are at different stages of pursuing becoming a republic as well. So we are very much excited as they also work. I mean, there comes a point where it's just like, this is ridiculous, and it'll be interesting to see how many of the leaders of these countries show up on Saturday at the ConAnation. That will be very interesting. One of the people that we know, I think he's already there. One of the people, New Zealand, that's not on this list, but New Zealand, their leader is already there. And he said New Zealand will ideally become a republic one day. That one day, someday, up in the air. New Zealand would ideally become a republic one day, says Chris Hipkins, ahead of King Charles's coronation. Prime Minister voices support for separating from the monarch, but there always that but says it is not a priority. So why are you talking about it? If it's not a priority, then shut up. It's like, come back to us when it is a priority, please. At this point, just stop talking about it. New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins said he supports the country becoming a republic, but has no immediate plans to act on separation from the monarchy. Again, nobody wants to hear these airy-fairy things. If you don't have a plan and it is not a priority, then stop talking about it. Then move on to something else and come back to the world when you have grown some confidence, when you have grown a spine, and when you have decided, it's like, my country has had enough. It's time that we stand on our own 2 feet. Come back to us when you've decided that. Until then, shut up. That's all I got. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's just tiring to see this, like, oh, we're going to, and then, but, not right now. It's not a priority. It's like, no, I mean, that's just weak. That is just weak. And I hate to hear leaders, and that's probably just me. And again, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the leader of New Zealand. I don't mean to be disrespectful to, the New Zealand people at all. So maybe what I said was harsh and disrespectful. And if it is, I apologize. I don't mean that to be that. But I am tired of this kind of weak narrative. I am so tired of it. And I felt the same way with Antigua, what their leader did when Edward and Sophie were there. I mean, it's just the same pattern. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to do it, but it's like, come back to us when you have decided, please. Because this is it's just of no value right at this moment. So anyways, he's in the UK obviously going to be at the ConAnation. So, moving on to something a little bit away from that. This was one of the most random tweets. Sean Tandon, this guy, I guess he's from the UN. And I guess the US UN ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield, was at a school and she was talking to kids there. And this is this is something she mentioned. Now, I don't know what the context is. He just posted it and I tweeted back and I'm like, okay, what is the context why she was talking about it? And I mean, it could be anything. she was talking to kids. Maybe they asked her what is the weirdest phone call she ever got, or the weirdest emails she, you know how kids, they ask these questions. So one of the things she shared, and I just thought it was funny, the one of the things she shared, it says the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Thomas Greenfield, or Linda Thomas Greenfield, tells students that Prince Harry sent an email to her personal account that read, "From Prince Harry." She deleted it, believing it was definitely spam. He eventually found her work account. And I can imagine her, if I got an email that says, "From Prince Harry," I mean, of course, she would, she's the UN ambassador, so it would stand to reason that she would most likely get an email from a Prince Harry. But even she was like, okay, this is spam. Somebody is spamming me. Somebody's trying to do something. Let me just delete it. Only to realize, like, oh my goodness, I deleted the actual Prince Harry's email. And so she said he eventually found her work email, and that is her meeting them when they were in the US, in New York, for the Global Citizens Concert. And so they met with her at the UN. Harry and Meghan met with her there. They had a great time. And on your right, the pictures aren't the greatest, but on your right is, because I took it off of a video, is her at the UN, at the Global Citizen Concert in Central Park in New York. And Harry and Meghan, they did their bit, and then they introduced her to come up and speak. So it was, they've definitely formed a great relationship. So hopefully to see them together again, maybe at the UN next time Harry and Meghan are in New York. And so, but it was just one of those random things. I was like, oh, I could imagine her sharing that with kids. Like, yeah, the most random email I got was from Prince Harry saying, oh, from Prince Harry. And I was like, I thought it was a spam and deleted it. I just thought it was funny. But anyways, who knows what why she talked about it. Again, kids ask all these different questions. So anyways, just thought it was interesting. Well, as far as we know, Prince Harry isn't playing polo for Los Padres. Los Padres. What am I saying? They're not. He's not playing this spring at the Santa Barbara Polo Club, because Harry is just busy. And so, but that didn't stop them. The Santa Barbara Polo Club has put out this magazine, and look who is on the cover. Church Nelly, this is for you. Look, it's Nacho. Nacho is on the cover on the left. And so I was just like, this is just for Church Nelly. And so, and then Harry, they used a photo of Harry on the over by the table of contents there, and also Harry and two ladies. I guess they were at the polo match. So Harry is featured in their Santa Barbara Polo magazine, even though Los Padres isn't playing. So Harry is, I'm assuming, will be a permanent member there at the Santa Barbara Polo Club. Hopefully they play in the fall. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It'll be interesting to see where Nacho plays, if he, is with another team or something for the spring. Who knows? But I just thought it was interesting, Harry, them using Harry and Nacho. So this is for you, Church Nelly. Get well soon, my love, and hurry back to us. Hope this cheers you up. What else? Oh, back to our phase, back to our baby boy and baby girl who are not so baby anymore. Again, tomorrow we will get the names of the charities that will be we will be supporting and donating to for King Prince Archie and Queen Princess Elizabeth's birthdays. And of course, King Prince Archie's birthday is coming up on Saturday. And so again, that's what I'll be focusing on. I will not be talking about ConAnation. So there, we'll leave those people to ConAnation on their own. We are not going to help them on Saturday. So we will be focused on these two little cuties' birthdays and supporting the charities from the squad of the Squatty Foundation. So again, thank you guys in advance for all of you who will support in any which way that you can. It will be amazing. We always do amazing work when it comes to supporting charities and supporting stuff. Again, Please do not feel obligated if you're not able to do financially. It is totally fine. So don't feel obligated like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. No, you don't. You can support in other ways. You can help out in other ways. You can share it. You can share it with a friend, tell a friend, however, if you can't do monetary. So please don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to find money. And no, there's a lot of ways you can help, and which you've done it. We've done amazing with other fundraisers. So, but this is coming up, and tomorrow is when we're going to get the links and the organizations that we're going to support, and we'll have a big celebration for King Prince Archie. King Prince Archie's birthday. And then, of course, next month is Queen Princess Lilibet's birthday. So anyways, that's it, my friends. That's it. Ending on our faves. Hope they remain under a tree while they plan birthday celebration and all of that. Wishing, I'll be here before he goes, but wishing Prince Harry a safe trip home, and back to the UK, and then a safe trip back home to Santa Barbara, whenever that is. So anyways, that's it, my friends. Thank you so much to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Church, Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream. You are amazing. Thank you. I am gonna post this. I will not be in the chat, so I'm if our moderators are there, please play nice. Have a great time, but behave yourselves in the chat. I won't be there because I am on a job, so I won't be able to be in the chat today, but have a great time. But our moderators are awesome, so thank you all so much. I know Church Nelly obviously is not well at the moment, so we will keep praying for her that she will get back to us soon. Sending you love, our positive thoughts and prayers, and all of the get wells that we can. And also Cookies and Cream having some illness in her family, so I'm praying for you guys as well. I know all of us in the community are praying for your dad and your family. So anyway, thank you guys for the incredible work that you do moderating the chat. Thank you to our awesome 2 Cents crew who support the the channel financially on a monthly basis. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Teresa Teresa McDougall, our new 2 Cents crew member. Thank you so much for being a part of the 2 Cents crew. I appreciate your support, and also to our Gold Star supporters who support the channel. In the chat, you'll see where they will donate or purchase a super sticker or super thanks, any of those. Thank you so much. Or even purchase merchandise. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you. Also, if you talk about merchandise, if you are interested in merchandise, we do have some Facts and 2 Cents merchandise. So if you want to get some swag, definitely go on our site. The link will be in the show notes. You can get that there. So thank you all so much for your incredible support. I love you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.